Hi there, and welcome to the fourth leg of the HADO tournament for BBC Children in Need, taking place here at the E3 campus of Belfast Met in Northern Ireland, which is an amazing place. If you've never been here, I very strongly suggest you come visit. So we have 6 teams playing today, so we're going to run them as a single pool, so they're going to play all teams against each other, so we're going to have quite a lot of matches running through, should be really good. Our teams today are Northern Ireland Esports, Wild, the Bouncers, Easy Dub, the Belfast Saints and the Bosses. So they're going to be facing off against each other over the next couple of hours to find our first ever Northern Ireland champions and our obviously Belfast Met champions, and hopefully then be able to select our see how they do against the bot challenge and find their place in the overall national rankings. Now the first 2 teams up are Northern Ireland Esports and Wild, and they are just getting ready to get started. So let's move ourselves over to pitch side. So it's Northern Ireland Esports on red versus Wild on blue. Teams just getting themselves logged in and prepped. So for anyone that's not seen HADO before, HADO is an augmented reality sport. That means that you still see the real world, everything in it is normal, but now computer graphics merge into reality with you. In front of each of the players there, you can see a target marker, blue in front of the blue team, red in front of the red team. It's that disc made of 4 segments that's getting chipped away out whilst they're in practice mode at the moment. That's what you're trying to hit. You're trying to hit that, not the target, not the player. And you're doing it with those energy blasts you're throwing. So, running into our first game now. Let's see how our teams do. 80 seconds on the clock. First points on the board for Northern Ireland Esports there, straight off the bat. Return there from Wild. Teams going point for point here in the first 10 seconds. And we generally don't see a huge amount of movement in the early games for teams whilst they're learning, because all our teams competing in these tournaments are rookies, so they're all very new to the sport. But good play both sides, nice firepower. Holding it even, 5 points apiece, 30 seconds played. Blue's just edging by a point now. Approaching on the halfway mark. Good shield positioning there from red that was giving some grief. Nice shield there on the far side from blue. Blue's edging again. Generally good shield work all round, good firepower. Not a huge amount of movement yet from either team, but very evenly matched at this point. Red's just edging by 2 points now. Realistically, you need a 4-point lead or greater to have any kind of confidence, because the whole match can flip in an instant otherwise. Blue's pulling it back again, 10 points apiece. Coming up onto the final 10 seconds now. So, 10 seconds remaining. 2-point lead for red. Can they hold on to it? 5 seconds left. 3, 2, 1, and game 1 goes to Northern Ireland Esports. So all our matches today are played best of 3. Wild have got the opportunity to fight back in the second game and try and take it to a third game decider. But nice play there from both teams. Good rates of fire, some nice accuracy. Fantastic there from blue player 4 with a 48.6% accuracy rate. Red player 2, a little bit low there at 9.5. Pretty much everyone else they're holding their own there. Relatively low shot scores there, some 40s. We'd hope to see most players around to like the mid-50s on shots fired across the course of a match. But it's only their opening game. These teams are going to jump in ability round on round as we move forwards. So it'll be interesting to see how they develop as we go further into the tournament. So, teams just get themselves prepped and ready for game 2. Northern Ireland Esports need to win this to take the match. Wild need to win it to take it to a third game decider. So the 2 teams were very clearly really closely matched during that first game, but they've now got another game under the belt. And as we see generally across the first about dozen games for rookie teams, that they jump in ability game on game as they're moving forwards. So we're hopefully going to see a switch up in how this plays. Hopefully Wild have learned something from that first game, and they're going to be able to apply it as we move into game 2. Right, let's pop ourselves back to pitch side. So team's pretty much set and ready. Coach Shamai just getting them prepped, making sure they're good to go. Here we go. Game on. Nice openings from both sides again. Much lower score in that first 10 seconds though. Reds with a 2-point lead this stage. Wild still needing to score. 3-point lead. Wild have got to get themselves on that scoreboard. (4-0), 5-0. Wild absolutely struggling in this second round. Northern Ireland Esports seriously got their eye in this time round. Wild now finally with their first points on the board as we come up to the halfway mark. 3 points on the board now. 40 seconds remaining, they've got 4-point lead to catch. Wild have got to up that firepower. There's just nowhere near as many shots coming out of them this game as there was in round 1. Wild still 4 points behind, 5 points behind now as we approach the 20-second mark. Still 5 points behind, 6 points behind now. Northern Ireland Esports absolutely dominating in this first half. Great fight back there from Wild, but unfortunately too little too late. Northern Ireland Esports got far too much momentum going in that first half of the match for them to catch and close that gap. Great play from both teams. That is match 1 to Northern Ireland Esports. So, teams now, again, nice uptake there. Red player 2 really stepping up their game there, shifting from a 9% accuracy to a 22% accuracy. Definitely helped in getting that early momentum rolling for them. Players 2, yeah, I mean all of the red players there, landing points well ahead of the first score there from Blues. Okay, so teams changing over now on court. So next up we have the Bouncers playing on red and Easy Dub on blue. So Bouncers on red, Easy Dub on blue. So we're still in the first round of games here. So we're not seeing any of these teams play yet. Not sure what they're going to bring to the field, whether they're going to see movement, static play, shields, aggression. It'll be interesting to see where we go with it. So, as you saw in that match there, players have got this sort of circular shield in front of them. Shield is the life marker, that's what you're trying to strike. And that's one of the things about HADO, that target is exactly the same size no matter who the player is. So that means that every player is the same physical size in the sport. And the blasts of energy that they're throwing, they only go at the speed they're programmed to. It doesn't matter how much force or how little force you've been throwing it, they still go at exactly the same speed. So within the sport, everyone's the same physical strength. So it's this incredible sort of balanced level playing field in terms of those size and strength factors, which is why we have no categories of any kind for age, gender, anything you want to go with. We don't have a category because it's just not relevant in the way the sport plays, which is quite amazing and why it's grown so quickly as a sporting activity. As well as that, as you saw there quite a lot, there's shields being raised in the air. There's sort of like big rectangles. Each player on the settings to run these tournaments on has the ability to raise 3 of those shields during the course of the 80-second match. The shields stay exactly where you put it. Both you and your teammates can shoot through them and they stop incoming fire. You can do, each shield will last for 10 seconds or 3 hits. So when a shield goes up, the most effective thing you can do as a team is just all turn and focus fire straight onto that shield because you'll destroy it. You really don't want shields to stay up in place. They cut off your crossfires, they take down your options. And also, once you haven't engaged the shield, you kind of feel you almost have to leave the player behind it alone, which means they can just stand there and snipe and get really nice, accurate, clean shots in, which obviously you don't want them to do. So you do need to make sure you get those shields down as quickly as possible. Okay, looks like our next 2 teams are pretty much good to go. So moving back to pitch side. So this is the Bouncers on red and Easy Dub on blue. Here we go, game 1. Beautiful opening point score there from blue and a nice shield as well, denying the counter-attack straight off the bat. Both teams on the scoreboard though, 10 seconds played. Slight advantage for Easy Dub on blue at the moment, just that 1 point. Battling each other point for point at this stage. 20 seconds played. Nice, team staying very much within close distance of each other here. Obviously, because the opposition are your points, there are always 3 points available. So unless you have a 4-point lead, you don't really have a lead of any meaningful nature, because the opposition can hit all 3 of you at the same time. So 2-point lead at the moment for blue, 3-point lead for blue, 30 seconds remaining. Reds need to close this gap now. Pulling it back, nice play, just 2 points in it, 1 point. Can Reds land that next one? Pull it back to evens, 20 seconds remaining. Points again, both sides. Blue's holding off fending off this red counter-offensive really well. Nice shield on the right-hand side there from Reds. Stopped the incoming salvo from blue, giving them the chance to move ahead now. 3-point lead for red. They've flipped it. Can they hold it for the last 3 seconds? 2, 1. Beautiful last fraction of a second shot there from Reds, stopping it from going to overtime. Really, really good play both sides there. 15 points to 4. Game 1 goes to the Bouncers on red. But very, very even play. That was so close to being an overtime. So if the two teams finish on the same score at the end of the game, the match will move to overtime. We get 10 seconds to get your breath back, and then it is the first knockout scored on any player takes the game. But looking at the stats there, pretty even across the board. All players scoring, all players reasonable accuracy. Red player 2, blue players 5 and 6 as well. Definitely need to move more. Both taking, all 3 of those players taking quite a lot of knockouts. More manoeuvrability from them, especially some ducking, so moving high and low, because that moves your target marker much more effectively than left and right as we move forward, and that will help to reduce the points. That'll help to reduce the points that their teams are conceding, and make it easier for them to win the matches overall. Obviously, the fewer points you concede, the fewer points you have to score in order to win. So dodging, evasion, good shield work, they're really, really key. Yeah, scoring points is great, but if you're not controlling what the other team are doing to you, if you're not limiting the points that they're scoring, you're constantly on catch-up and you're having to target those big numbers all the time. And that's not necessarily an easy thing to do. Okay, so team's turning around now, getting themselves prepped and ready for game 2. So that first one was really, really close. Both teams are going to be starting to pick up now. Already seeing a lot more movement there from Easy Dub on blue just in the practice session. Here we go. Game on. Game 2. Can Easy Dub flip the script on this one, or the Bouncer's going to manage to take the match? Great opening salvo there from blue. 2 points straight on the board. Red's answering back immediately though. Point for point each side at the moment. Red's pulled it back even again. Blue's just constantly edging. Can they hold them off? Reds have flipped it round, 6-5. They're just single point in it each time. These teams staying really close. Reds start to get a little bit of leeway here. Can they get to that 4th point? Yeah, they can. Right, 4 points is dangerous. 4 points means you've got to wipe the whole opposing team out and get 1 more point. Okay, so 4 points is the lead you never ever want to see your opponents get on you. Blues beautifully pulling that back though. Really, really good fight back. Pull it back and flip the scoreline again. 11 points apiece. 12-11 now. Really good play from both teams here. Fantastically evenly matched at this stage. 20 seconds remaining. Red's now just starting to edge the lead. Blues immediately responding there. Great play all round. 16 points apiece. 10 seconds. This is going absolutely down to the wire again. Are we going to get that last fraction of a second decider? 2, 1. Reds take it. 20 points to 18. Fantastic shots there in the last sort of fraction of a second, clinching the victory for red team. 20 points to 18. That's 2 games to 1. Match goes to the Bouncers. Really, really good play though from both sides. Amazing accuracy there from blue player 4, 66.6%. Yeah, really, really good. Blue player 4, amazing accuracy. Really low on shots, but low shot rate. If you're hitting that often, getting 10 KOs is not a problem. Okay, that's not necessarily a negative at all. It means he was picking his shots, making himself effective as he was moving around the pitch. But yeah, good play both sides. Two very, very good teams there. Can be interesting to see how they develop as we move into the later games. So prepping up for our third match. So this is the end of round one. Hello.
Interesting. So far, two teams. 4 teams already played. Both teams.
Two teams have played. They've played 4 games.
Yes, that's what I mean. But
yeah,
anyways,
that's why I don't normally let you go on camera.
Nah, that's
no.
not
Okay.
Anyway, so the red side has been the winner so far. So will it be 3 for 3, or will the Blues change this up? I don't know. And they're the boxes.
Well,
so...
red and blue doesn't actually make any difference.
Oh, yeah, I'm just trying to add a bit.
Other than obviously, red goes faster because it's red. Everybody knows that.
Standard.
But yes, they automatically got a speed advantage.
Yeah, it's been interesting anyway. So the pressure on the boxes. So down to them.
Okay, so these are our final 2 teams for round 1. So this is the Belfast Saints on red and the Bosses on blue. So from here on out, though, we can move into round 2, round 3, and so on. So all the teams start to get more and more experience. They've all had these first competitive matches under their belts, and be starting to move ahead in their gameplay and their experience. We'll see where they go. So we've already seen some really good accuracy, some shielding starting to come through, not necessarily in a real tactical planned way, but they're using them, which is really good to see. Bits of movement starting to happen. It's all going to expand out from here. So as we go forward in these games, we're going to see more movement, more accuracy, better tactics, better shield positioning, as they start watching how the other teams play, learning their strengths and weaknesses. The key ones you want to watch out for when you're talking about tactically, though, is looking at the highest point scorer on the opposing team, because they're the most dangerous player. They're the one that are actually earning the points for that team. So what you want to do is make sure they are constantly under pressure. You've got one person dedicated to them, the other 2 constantly dropping cross shots into that player to keep them busy, trying to keep them out of game wherever you can. Your next target is whoever's moving the least. Yeah, whoever's moving the least, they're really supposed to earn points off. So earning points is good, but you need to stop the other time scoring first. Right, let's move ourselves back pitch side. Here we go. So, Belfast Saints in red versus the Bosses in blue. Opening game. Fantastic first salvo there from the Bosses. 2 points to nothing. 3 points to nothing. 4 points to nothing. 10 seconds played. Belfast Saints with a huge mountain to climb here from the get-go. Fantastic opening momentum there from the Bosses. Absolutely brutal. Belfast Saints just need to move. Shields up from Belfast Saints there, trying to buy themselves a little bit of time, breathing space. That brutal opening salvo from the Bosses there is going to take some serious work for them to close that gap on. Coming up on the halfway mark, 5.6 point lead to Blues here. Belfast Saints have just got to move more. They're far, far too stationary. It's allowing the Bosses to just tear straight into them. 8 point lead now. This is not going well for the Belfast Saints. We need a lot more movement from their team. Starts close to pull it back on the scoreline there, but 5 points in 10 seconds is not going to happen here. Not with the rate of fire coming from blue team against them. I mean, that's a good fight back. Given from where they started, that is a great fight back from Belfast Saints, but just too little too late. Just that opening salvo from the Bosses just absolutely tearing into them, not giving them any chance to get into the early stages of the game at all. And such a great head start there and momentum on the point score from the Bosses. There's just no way the Belfast Saints could pull that back. So, first game to the Bosses. Teams are getting prepped up for round 2. Yeah, really good all round. Bosses showing what we really want there, which is basically no real standout players. And that might sound a bit strange, but basically if you've got a key player who's truly standout in their point scoring, one, it means that they're operating obviously at a different level from their teammates. But 2, it also means that you know they're going to get targeted, that's the person you need to stop. If you stop them, the rest of the team aren't actually any good. When you've got a team who are all performing at a good level, though, you've got no weak link. And if there's no weak link, there's no one specifically to target. If no one to target, you can't basically shut them down. You can't make a break in their gameplay. You can't, it doesn't matter who you take out. It's not really going to make any real big decisive difference to the way the team are playing, which is obviously problematic because you haven't got someone to target in that way. So really, really nice play though from Blues. Really great opening salvo, really good accuracy, but Reds let them do it so stationary on the pitch at this stage, which is not unusual for early players. It's very, very common in your first games to be quite still. Hopefully, though, we're going to see that move out as they gain more confidence. We see a lot more movement from them. So we need to see them starting to use this court. Remember, they can all up the centre line to the back wall, shift left, right. They can duck, they can jump, they can be incredibly mobile in this space. But they've got to get that mobility up. Again, great opening salvo from Blues. Red shields up straight away, which caught them that little bit of breathing space. Took the edge off that opening attack from the Bosses on Blue. 2 points apiece here. Bosses not managed to get that significant lead they got in game 1, but still just starting to edge ahead now. 3 point lead. Belfast Saints and Reds start to pull it back. Still now, teams now going point for point as we approach the halfway mark. 8 points apiece, 9-8. Single point lead to the Bosses here as we pass the halfway mark. And Belfast Saints have wiped that out and taken it back to even. Much more evenly matched game here. The opening shields there from Belfast Saints just stopped the Bosses' initial salvo in the first few seconds, allowed them to get into the game properly, get the momentum rolling. 16-13 for Red at the moment. Bosses pulling it back again, though. Single point in it now. 10 seconds. Teams are neck and neck again. 16 points apiece. 5 seconds. 17 points apiece. 3, 2, 1. Bosses take it in the last fraction of a second. 19 points to 17. That is 2 game wins to the Bosses. The match taken by the Bosses. And despite all of Pav's predictions, a win for the blue team. Not that it matters which side you play on. It's all down to the players and the teams, not the colour of the banner. Unless, of course, it's red, because everyone knows red makes things go faster. So, moving on now to round 2. Our next teams on the court are going to be Northern Ireland Esports on red and Easy Dub on blue. Our round 1 winners there, Northern Ireland Esports, Bouncers and the Bosses, all with 1 match win under their belts at this stage. But really, really good play from Bosses there in both games. Belfast Saints real clear improvement in tactics as we went into game 2. Be interesting to see as they move to their second match what they've learned from this and how they can move forwards. Red player 2 there, really the player that needs to up their game. 0 KOs scored and 9 conceded. So red player 2 is currently the weak link there for Belfast Saints. If they can get their eye in for targeting and start to move, that will make a massive difference to how that team performs going forwards. So red player 2, if you're watching the stream, just move a bit. Focus on the targets on the other players. Try and get your eye in a bit. Just that little bit of motion around the pitch, maybe ducking on the shots a few times, and you're going to hugely alter the impact that you're having on that on the game as you move forwards, and start turning that into match wins. So moving into the second round now. So this is the second match for each of our teams. So here we have Northern Ireland Esports on red and Easy Dub on the blue side, just getting prepped and ready. A whole lot of tactical chat going on the court. Some last minute pointers from Coach Shimai as they're getting prepped and ready. Obviously, if you've got any comments, anything you want to say, please drop it in chat. If you know anyone who's like me, who's going to want to watch these results and see how they go, make sure you ping with DM and tell them to log on to the stream. So as we go through this, obviously we're going to end up with our winning teams, who will go through and then face off against the bot challenge, which is our standardised way of assessing each of the 8 tournament winners across the 8 legs of this tournament. Currently in first place on that is Barnsley College, followed by College of Esports, followed by QMC Basingstoke. See, in an hour or so's time, we will find out where Belfast lie on that chart, whether they can get on there or if Barnsley are going to hold on to top. Here we go. So, Northern Ireland Esports on red, Easy Dub on blue. First game of round 2. Great shielding work there from Blues. Nice layered positioning. But nonetheless, first points on the board for red, but immediate response there from blue. Taking it 2-1, 2-all. Coming up on 20 seconds played. Red's just edging by a point now. 2 points. Firepower from Blues dropping off. A little bit of fixation on shields. Getting those shields up can take a few seconds, and it's often not necessarily worth it. The time you take to shield, you could easily put out 3 or 4 shots and therefore earn points. So it's a real tactical choice for whether you're going to try and get that shield up or not. 6 points apiece, 7-6 now. Teams absolutely neck and neck. Really good gameplay here. Starting to see a lot more movement around the pitch from both sides as well. Blues just edging by 2 points. 3 points now. Can they get that 4th point? Just to start putting themselves out of immediate reach of the red team. Great shielding there from Reds, really holding back the volley fire there from Blues. 2 points in it, 10 seconds, 3 points. 3 points still, 5 seconds remaining. 3, 2, 1. 6 point finisher there. So 6 point lead at the end. Straight full team wipeout in the final couple of seconds of the game there, and that is game 1 to Easy Dub. So Easy Dub lost their first matchup against the Bouncers. Northern Ireland won their first match against Wild. So obviously a bit of a flip in performance here. Really, really close there all the way through. Their teams very much vying in close proximity to each other score-wise, all the way down the line, right up until those sort of final, about 15 seconds or so, where Easy Dub and Blue start to get that bit of momentum going, get some space between themselves and Northern Ireland Esports, then really accelerate it out in the last couple of seconds. So, really, really nice play there. So it's going to be interesting to see what Northern Ireland Esports take away from that, in terms of what they can do to try and flip this result round, try and push towards the third game decider. Obviously, the ideal, is to get is to get those, preferably 5-game wins. 5-game wins is what you want here. That's what's going to take you through, and take you through to the pool take out the pool stages. And into the win. Here we go. Game 2. Beautiful one-shot takedown there off the get-go from Northern Ireland Esports. A little bit of early momentum there for them. Single-point lead to pass into the 15 seconds now for Blues. Easy to powering ahead there. Great salvo of shots. I remember a 6-point lead here. So 4 points is the magic number, because 3 is the points that's available at any one time by them striking your team. Dominating lead here from Easy Dub. Absolutely hammering Northern Ireland Esports. Just past the halfway mark. 7-point lead. 8-point lead. 9. This has gone badly wrong for Northern Ireland Esports in Game 2 here. Great accuracy and movement coming from Easy Dub, especially their front player there. He's drawing a lot of fire onto himself. Having a distraction player at the front is a great tactic. People find it very, very hard to focus on the players behind you, allowing them to snipe. And as long as your distraction player can move enough that they're not giving away points consistently to the other team, is a good way to play. 11 points. Dominating win there for Easy Dub on Blue. Absolutely control the pitch all the way through there. Great play. Northern Ireland Esports are going to seriously need to up their game as they move into round 3. But really, really good play from Easy Dub. So that's both teams now with a match win under their belts. Our next teams up are going to be Wild and Belfast Saints, neither of which have yet won a match. So one of them is going to be leaving this with a match point towards their tally for the final result. So we're going to be having Wild on red and Belfast Saints on blue. But really, really good play in that Northern Ireland Esports Easy Dub game. Easy Dub just absolutely dominating. Now, given that the Easy Dub lost to the Bouncers, the next Bouncers game is going to be interesting. If they can defeat a team that's capable of doing what we just saw there from Easy Dub. Okay, so our next teams are moving onto the pitch now. So we have Wild on red and the Belfast Saints coming in on blue. Okay, teams just get themselves geared up, prepped and ready to move into this next game. So both Wild and Belfast Saints lost their round one matchups, but they were both playing really well. They were the close games in the way they played. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays through, what they've learned from those situations. Obviously, Belfast Saints really just need to up the motion. I mean, Wild played a really good game against Northern Ireland Esports for the opening game of the tournament, first game there from Belfast Saints in their match one was very much dominated by their opponents. Second game was much closer once they started to get some shielding positioning going, a bit of defensive work in there. So it's going to be interesting to see what the two teams have learned from those opening matches and how they're going to be able to apply it here. And if they're paying any attention to each other. So obviously in a tournament like this, you really want to be watching how the other teams play. Yeah, because all teams, especially as they start to get a few games on the belt, are going to start to develop team tactics. You're going to be able to get an idea of basically who your key players are, where do you want to go with it, what do you think you could do, new ideas you might be able to bring to the board. So constantly keeping those things in mind and getting ready to bring them to bear is key. Okay, so our team's just finishing their kit up and prep. So Wild versus Belfast Saints. Wild on red, Belfast Saints on blue. So neither team yet with a match win. So one of them is walking away from this with points. Just waiting for them to finish their final prep. Here we go. Game on. First points for red. Immediate answer from blue there. 10 seconds played. 1 point apiece. Red's edging by a point. Some reasonable movement from red across the court there. Shields dropping in. Blue's still very stationary as we were in round one, but starting to fight back now. 30 seconds played. 2 point difference. Nice score there from Blues. Coming on the halfway mark, Red's edging to a 3 point lead now. That centre red shield's been allowed to stay in position way too long. Shields only take 3 shots to get rid of them. Got to get them cleared out your way. Single point difference now. 2 points. Red's just keeping that lead. Nice shielding there from Reds. Keep dropping those shields in, denies the opposition the chance to basically close that gap. Red's down to their last 2 shields on player 1. Everyone else is out. 11 points apiece. 10 seconds. Going down to the wire here. Blue's edging by a point now. Red's answering straight back. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Blues take it by a point. 13 to 12. Blue player 4, absolute standout player there. 8 KOs scored and only suffering 2 themselves. So red team need to identify that. They need to realise the threat from blue player 4 and they need to absolutely shut blue player 4 down in this next round if they want to win. Blue player 4 taking 4 out of the 5 MVP categories there. Red's taking the movement, so you've seen these stats coming through at the end of the games. These sort of like high to mid-teens, going into the 20 sort of movement rate. 34 meters there from red 1, obviously eclipsing the other players. So in the early games, again, we tend to see these relatively lower movement figures in this sort of like mid-teens through mid-20s sort of level, being the where the majority of the players are sat. As we go through this tournament, you're going to see that pick up. Once you get to a proper high competitive end, what you then start to see is that sort of like 80 meters plus, 100 meters plus. I think the highest we've seen so far in the Premiership season in the UK is 134 meters moved by a player in a single 80-second game. So the more accurate your opponents become, the more you have to move. Okay, if you're staying still, they're just gonna farm you for points. The key one to remember is during your knockout period. So when a player's knocked out, that target's destroyed, they're out again for 3 seconds. Okay, before they're back in. It's the same for everybody. If you stand still during that 3 seconds, your opponents just have to go 1, 2, fire, and they're just going to farm you for points and basically spawn camp you. So move. Here we go. Round 2. Wild on red, Belfast Saints on blue. Again, very stationary from both teams on their opening play there. 2-0 to Wild at this point. Both teams on the board now. 20 seconds played. Red still with that 2-point lead. And those red shields just being allowed to stay in place for far, far too long by the Blues. Got to get rid of them. 6-point lead here. Blues have got to move around the space more. They're just far, far too stationary at this stage still. Just past the halfway mark. 5-point lead to Reds. Four-point lead. 30 seconds remaining. Can Blues claw this back? They've got to move. Blues are so stationary on the pitch at the moment. And Reds are just making them suffer for it. 6-point lead. Blues have got the accuracy. If they could just keep themselves mobile to limit the shot, limit the points they're conceding, their performance here would be phenomenally improved. 3, 2, 1. 5-point victory. So 16-11 for the red team for Wild in the Wild versus Belfast Saints matchup here. So we are moving to a third round decider. So Belfast Saints took game 1, Wild took game 2, so this is our first third round decider. That first game was a lot closer, with obviously that real great sort of flurry of shots and activity there coming in at the end from Belfast Saints. Second game there, Wild really making Belfast Saints suffer for their lack of manoeuvrability and movement on the pitch. Belfast Saints, if they want to take this in the third round, they've got to move. We've got to have a lot more motion, especially ducking. Yeah, basically dropping low, moving around the pitch, turning, twisting. All of that moves your target marker. Okay, and moving the target marker very obviously makes you harder to hit. Yep. So that time exactly maps to your head. So if you turn, it turns with you. You go high, low, it moves with you. If you shift your body, it moves with you. Okay, so the more mobile you are in that space, both in terms of turns, twists, raising and lowering your body height, all of these things move that target, make it harder for the opponents to engage it. And that really is key if you want to win. Here we go, third round decider. First point's on the board there for blue. Remember, this is the third round decider, so it's a winner takes all for the match points. Great opening momentum there from blue. 2-point lead now. Red start to claw that early lead back. Blue's got to try and hold onto that momentum. Blue's edging some space again between themselves and Reds. Coming up on the halfway mark. 3 points in it now. Reds again trying to fight back and close that gap. Blues just managing to hold them off. 3 point lead still as we pass 30 seconds remaining. Reds fantastic counter-attack, pulled about 9 points apiece. 20 seconds left on the clock. This one could be going down to the wire again. Single point lead for Blues. Reds immediately responding there. Great play both sides. 10 seconds. Blues just with that 1 point lead. 2 point lead. 4, 3, 2, 1. And we're going to overtime. So these teams were pretty even. So overtime, third round side. So first knockout on any player takes the match. That's it. Blue, centre blue. Scored by red player 1 there. So it's a red team victory in overtime. So that's Wild winning their first match of this tournament in round 2 against Belfast Saints. So Belfast Saints still to get their first match win. Next up we have the Bouncers on red versus the Bosses on blue. Both teams with a match win under their belts so far. So it'll be interesting to see how they move ahead from here. No team has yet won 2 matches. So whichever one of these 2 teams takes the win, it's going to be the first team to achieve 2 match points and be the current leader on the pool table. Blues though, you said there, so still around that sort of like 15, 17 metre movement to the players there. The accuracy we were seeing there was really, really good. They got their eye in, good on target, just so stationary. And if you're going to stay still, the opponents are going to farm you for points. There is no way around that. They're trying to earn points, and if you're going to be a stationary target, which is therefore nice and easy for them to aim at and hit, you're going to suffer for it. You've got to move in that space. Really, but said, given the obviously how little experience everyone's got here, because it is all rookie teams, that we've seen some nice gameplay starting to come through already. Some good accuracy starting to come from the teams. Shield placements starting to improve now. We want to see those start to layer up and get more and more going on as we move forwards. We also want to start to see a lot more sort of side to side, starting to duck height wise. Coming from them, and that's going to be our next sort of evolution up. So the first teams that really start to get that pitch movement happening effectively are going to start jumping ahead of their opponents. Same way the teams that start to get properly team positioning, shields layered up as we're moving forwards, they're also going to start to move ahead. And if you get a team doing both of those, they're going to start dominating this competition. So it's the quicker that teams start to realise that they need to move, they need to get these defensive elements in play, the quicker they're going to start to control these matches going forwards. So teams now just getting themselves prepped and ready. So this is the final matchup of round 2. Bouncers on red versus the Bosses on blue. So both teams with a match win under their belts at this stage. So both teams, so whichever team takes this is going to take the top point on the current leader table. Obviously still a long way to go at this stage. We've got this is only end of round 2. We have 5 rounds in total of matches to work our way through. But it's an awful lot easier to stay in front than it is to play catch up. Here we go. Game on. So we saw dominating firepower from the Bosses at the start of their game 1 round 1 match. Teams here very even at this stage. Bosses just edging by a point. 20 seconds played. Again, good aggressive play from the Bosses. We're actually seeing some decent ducking and motion from them as well there. Reds nicely split across the pitch. Front player there drawing attention. taking the pressure off these two teammates further back on the court, allowing them to keep their eye in and keep those accurate shots moving across the field. Boss is currently playing in a much more linear format. 4-point lead for Red here. 5-point lead for Red. Big uphill struggle for the Bosses now. Got to try and close that scoreline down. 20 seconds remaining. Good centre shield there, stopping that incoming salvo. That centre player has been allowed to stay in play for far too long with just that one life marker on the lower edge. Finally taking him out of play, but he is distracted way too much of their firepower. Really good play from Red player 3 there. Absolutely soaking up the firepower, drawing their attention, drawing the fire onto himself, and giving away very few points, given how dangerous that frontline position is for the amount of time he was on there, and giving his teammates a great opportunity to get their eye in and get those points scored. So, either Blues need to not get distracted by that front player. That was, after all, his job was to distract you, and he's done it perfectly. Or you need to basically really start to get into player marking. So pick players on the opposing team and focus on them, so that there's no one without the pressure on them. Blue player 4 there suffering probably the weakest link on the blue side there, just a single point scored. So nice play. And again, we're starting to see the evolution of tactics now as we're moving into the later games. Really nicely done by the bouncers there. The idea of tactic of a distraction player at the front is a very common one. We see it from a lot of the Premiership teams. We've got a player who can dodge and evade. So basically, to give away as few points as possible on that frontline player, because their focus is on about drawing all the fire and attention onto themselves, allowing their teammates to basically just snipe away and earn points because there's no real pressure coming onto them. They've just got to keep themselves mobile, well shielded, and not give points away. And that's exactly what the Bouncers managed to do in that first game. Let's see if the Bosses have got wise to the tactic and whether they're going to be able to take this to a third round decider. Good opening scores there from the Bosses. Good initial momentum. Let's see if they can make that 4-point gap. 3-point gap. Reds now on the return. Good shield on from Reds there. Well used as well. So that shield's allowed them to get themselves straight back in this game. It's a very good position for it. Bosses edging by a couple of points now. Starting to get a little bit of momentum going. Centre player Red getting torn up a lot more now. Not managed to keep his movement going as well, anything like as well as he did in that first game. Bosses now with a 3-point lead. Red start to fight back. 30 seconds remaining. Pull it back to a single-point lead for the Bosses. Reds pulled it even now. Bosses having real difficulty with those low target markers. Beautiful single-point takedown there on the centre Red player. 10 seconds. Bosses with a 3-point lead here. 2 point. 1 point. 5 seconds in it now. Pulled it back to even, single point, and we're going to overtime. Great finishing salvos from both sides there. First knockout, any player. And that is blue player 6, KO'd by red player 1. So that is a win in overtime for the Bouncers. So that's Bouncers now with 2 match wins under the belt. So Bouncers are currently top of the pool table. But great play from the Bosses there. First game was strong. Second game was much stronger there. Real pick up in score lines from players all round. Starting to get much better movement figures there. So now I think that's our first 40-metre movement that we've seen there, which is from Red team. That use of that distraction player on the front line really playing dividends for them. If they can get him to start doing some groundwork, so dropping low down to knee, slides, if he's very quickly like that athletic, but really starting to drop low on your distraction play as well, because if you stood upright and playing distraction and a shot misses you, then it's still got a chance of hitting your teammates. If you're playing low to the ground on distraction, then any missed shots just go into the ground and don't even come to your teammates either. So playing low, jumping high, really forcing your opponents to shoot high and low, because it means those missed shots on you are of zero threat to your opponents, and you've really, really done your job of taking all the opposing fire offline and away from your team, which is a good way of playing. So that was the end of round 2. So we're now moving through into round 3. So now we have Northern Ireland Esports versus the Belfast Saints. So Northern Ireland Esports on red and Belfast Saints on blue. And it looks like we have a PAV update.
I'm back.
Hi.
So far, there's only been one match that has gone to 3 games.
We know.
It's,
We've been talking about it.
It's crazy. I mean,
I know, it's a really, really even playing field.
Overtime, it's
Yep.
just...
Yeah, the teams are really good. Obviously, Belfast Saints still looking for their first match win.
Yep.
Bouncers currently top of the pool table at the end of round 2. About to go into our first game of round 3.
And already we've had teams over here calling each other out, so it's going to get tasty up in here. That's what I'm going to say.
That's what we want.
So,
Bit of banter is all good.
that's it. So I'm just going to go back over here and mediate, make sure that's how it stays. You know what I mean?
Go away. Go. I don't know. He gets a couple of Instagram followers, and all of a sudden thinks he's a superstar. Right. So. Moving on. So this now moving into round 3. So here we have Northern Ireland Esports on red, Belfast Saints on blue. Teams just getting themselves kitted and ready. So Belfast Saints chasing their first match win. Northern Ireland Esports with 1 match win and 1 match loss at this stage. Now, should the teams tie on match wins, which is looking like could happen because there's some pretty even play between these teams, especially with the overtimes going down to the wire, it could easily go either way. Should that happen, the teams will be separated on total points scored in their main games. Currently, Easy Dub are the highest point scoring team at 72 points. So, see how we go. Here we go. Right, start round 3. Northern Ireland Esports on red versus Belfast Saints on blue. So Belfast Saints, their weakness so far has been just a general lack of manoeuvrability. Need to start seeing them move around the court, but great opening salvo from them. Good centre shields, just making up for the lack of manoeuvrability, but they are going to run out of shields. There's going to become a point where they just have to move. However, right now, shields is working for them. 2-point lead currently, 1-point lead to Blues. Reds have pulled it all the way back now. Those red shields being allowed to stay in play for far, far too long. Great counter-offensive there from Blues. Both teams going point for point here. 7 points all has hit the halfway mark. Eight points each. 10-8. 2-point lead now for Blues. Can they keep that momentum going? Nope. Reds caught them almost immediately there. Got to get to that 4-point lead point. If you want any kind of breathing space at all. 3-point lead for Blues now. Can they get their 4th point? No. Reds answering back straight away. Coming into the final 10 seconds. Remember, there are always 3 points available on the other side of the pitch, so that's why that 4-point variance is so important. 2, 1. Blues take it. 17-6. Fantastic final second strike there from Blue Player 4. Blue Player 4 having an absolute blinding game there. 10 points scored for only 4 conceded. Absolute standout player of the match there. Blue Player 4 in fact taking 4 out of the 5 MVP categories. So KO count, accuracy, shots fired, individual score. That individual score you see flick up every now and then. That's basically a way of grading each player's total value to their team. So every time you land a hit on another player, you earn points. Every time you get a knockout, you earn bonus points. Every time you hit a shield, you earn points. Every time your shield stops hits, you earn points. Every time you get hit, you lose points. So so each player has an individual score rating, and it's just showing basically how much of an asset or a liability do you represent your team overall in terms of your support play, defensive play, offensive play. All of it earns you points. And the better you do all of it, the more points you're racking up onto that score. But great opening game there from Belfast Saints. Said they're currently chasing their first match win at this stage. Northern Ireland Esports really needs to try and close that gap. get this back in and get that second game won. So just while the team's getting prepped, as I haven't realised, I haven't done it. Obviously, as this all is happening for children in need, please, 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 go give some money to Pudsey. The Children in Need website has got all the details about how you can donate. There's text points you can use, QR codes, all sorts of cool stuff. Please, please go and send some money Pudsey's way so they can do some very cool things with it. Here we go. Game on. This is game 2 of this match. Blues need to take this game in order to gain their first match point of the tournament. Reds very clearly not wanting to let them do that and wanting to get themselves back into 2 match points and therefore joint leaders on the current league table. Very aggressive play off the bat from Reds. 3-point lead. Blues now starting to chip that away. 2-point lead. Pulled it back square. Great counter-offensive from Blues there. Halfway now. 1-point lead for Reds. Shields starting to come up. Good play from the Reds there on stopping that counter drive from Blue. 30 seconds remaining. Reds just with a single-point lead. Blues are taking it back. 9 points apiece. Both teams got to up their movement across the pitch. Shooting is great, but if you're getting bombarded by incoming fire, that's of no real help. 2-point lead to Reds. 3-point lead now. 10 seconds. Single point in it. 13 points each. 5 seconds remaining. Blues with a point now. 3, 2, 1. That is game 2 and match to Belfast Saints. Belfast Saints take their first match point of the tournament. Said accuracy and firepower for Belfast Saints really picking up. Use of shields hugely improving. Just need to get a bit more movement, and they are going to become a very, very effective team as we move into the final stages of the tournament. But that is currently their core weakness. 8 metres movement there from the Belfast Saints players. Just got to move more across the pitch here. Up that movement, and they'll be adding a lot more match points to their total as we go forwards. But overall, really good play. Obviously got a mix there on the MVP categories. Red player 2 absolutely doing their team proud there. 7 KOs, 44% accuracy, but just not enough. Just not enough in there. To catch up with the other players. Both teammates there on red, good 10 shots behind in their output, allowing Blues to keep control and dominate as they go through. And obviously, as well as doing this for Children in Need, where we're also doing this with help from Virgin Media, O2 and Ericsson, who are our connectivity partners through all these tournaments, allowing us to bring these tournaments to you, because what they're doing is awesome. So getting prepped now for our next matches. So here we have Wild versus the Bouncers. So this is Wild on red versus Bouncers on blue. So this whole table at the moment, very, very open. Bouncers currently still our pool winners there with 2 match wins. As they are currently undefeated. They've got one of the lower overall scores though, so their matches generally go into some of the lower points totals, but nonetheless they've been doing really well, and they're winning. So that's what it all counts about. Belfast Saints currently actually with the highest point score, total at 101 points racked up so far across their matches, but we said Bouncers are our current league top team. So Bouncers are on blue, Wild are on red. Bouncers are currently our only undefeated team. Can Bouncers continue their run, or are Wild going to manage to stop them? First point's on the board to Wild. Good centre shield there. A lot less movement than we've seen previously from the bouncers, Wild absolutely punishing them for it as well. 3-point lead to Wild. 4-point lead to Wild. Bouncers have got to up this really, really quickly. Bouncers on the definitely on the back foot here. 5-point lead for Wild. Bouncers start to move forward again, which is good. If you get pushed back onto that back wall, it really, really limits your dodging options. It makes it seem like you've got more chance to get out of the way, but you can't. If you can't shift backwards, it really affects your ability to dodge those shots. Good fight back though from the bouncers. 3 points in it now. We've got Wild back within reaching distance. 20 seconds. Now they've got to chip that 3-point lead down. Perfect. 1-point lead now. 10 seconds, just 2 points in it. Are Wild going to manage to break this unbeaten run for the bouncers? That's it. Wild take game one. Wild take game one. 19 points to 15. Fantastic play from them, especially red player 3 there. Absolutely dominating. 11 points scored to 5 points conceded. Nice even play across all three of the players from the bouncers there. But in the previous games, we've seen an awful lot more motion from them, especially from their distraction player in the red shirt. Those early games, previous games, you've seen him much more mobile around the pitch, much harder to hit. He was very, very static on that centre point this time round, and Wild just punished them for it, which is fair enough. If they're going to stay right on the centre line and not move very much, they're going to get shot. So let's see if we can get a return to that movement from bouncers, especially in their distraction player in the red shirt. I said it was a really, really good tactic. It served them incredibly well in those early matches, and they need to get that movement back. So that sudden loss of movement from them, and the whole scenario shifted around. So Wild take the second game, and they end Bouncers' unbeaten match streak. Bouncers need to win this and move through to third round decider if they're going to maintain themselves at the top of the table and as our undefeated team. Game on. Nice early shielding both sides. 10 seconds played. First point to Red. Red's now racking them up 2-3 points. Blues are on the board. Single point split in the teams now. Blues have pulled it even. Nice play. Good centre shield positionings from both teams. Really reducing the options of fire for their opponents. 2-point lead for Reds at this stage. Coming up, could approach the halfway mark. Blues have pulled it back. Single point difference. Reds edging again. Just got to keep Reds constantly just trying to open a bit of an air gap between them and the blue team. Blues just keeping them constantly within reach, but never managed quite to convincingly catch them. Single point, 2 points, 20 seconds remaining. Back to a single point difference. Blues have got to even this now. Yes, they have. 11-11. Reds immediately answering though. 12-11. 13-11. 14-12. Coming on 5 seconds now. Blues need one more point. Fantastic fraction of a second shots there from both teams. Wild have broken the Bouncers' run, and that's Bouncers taking their first match loss. Red player 3, they're having a definite standout game. 9 KOs scored, 45% accuracy. Really, really good. Again, player movement still relatively low. We're hoping to start to see those shift up to sort of an average of sort of like mid-30s into the 40s soon. Need to see these players start to get a lot more mobile on the pitch. Accuracy tends to pick up first, which is what we're seeing here, which is why we're getting these increased those sort of shifts and scores. Now they've got to start that evasion and dodging. because once your opponents have gained some accuracy, you've got to start to move a lot more. Otherwise, those scorelines can become damaging very, very quickly. Okay, so we are now prepping up for Easy Dub on red versus the Belfast Saints on blue. So Easy Dub on red versus Belfast Saints on blue. So looking at dropping back to our league table, Wild and Bouncers both now have 2-game wins. Bouncers currently have 100 points total scored, Wild have 96. So Bouncers are still at the top of the table, but only just. Very, very little between those two teams. All other teams have got one match win under their belts, which means this is the final game of round 3. One out of Easy Dub and Belfast Saints is also going to move up into this sort of joint first place on the table. And from the Bounce and Wilds positions, they'd like it to be Easy Dub. Looking at those scores, as Belfast Saints already before playing these 2 games, already have more total points scored than either Bouncers or Wild. So if Belfast Saints take this game, they'll actually jump immediately to the head of the leader table. Whereas Easy Dub, depending on what the score might do, but Belfast Saints will automatically go to the head of the leader table if they can take this match. Interesting to see how it goes. So this is leg 4 of our 8-leg tournament. So already we've played matches at Barnsley, at the O2 in London, at QMC College in Basingstoke. We're now currently at Belfast Met, obviously in Belfast. We're moving on from here. On Monday we're going to be at Bangor University in North Wales. If you'd like to be involved in any way, we do still have the capacity to take some players at Bangor, so please get in touch with us and we can potentially get you on the court and playing. The only restriction is you've got to be able to get to Bangor University for Monday afternoon, and you've got to be over the age of 16. Outside of that, we are welcome to anyone who wants to basically come and enjoy, get involved with these activities and try something new, basically. Then on the Tuesday, on the 17th, we have our Midlands tournament being held at the HADO Arena, Coventry, where we have a number of sixth form colleges and Coventry College all putting teams in, which should be really good to get a nice bit of competitiveness between all of them. We're going to take a little break before we move up to Hearts Football Club in Edinburgh, and then to the Newcastle United Foundation for our final 2 legs of the tour. So obviously, while you're here, click subscribe, because that means you get updated when we get to those next locations. You can see how they're doing, how these other teams are comparing, get an idea of how you measure up to everyone else. Here we go. So this is Easy Dub on red, Belfast Saints on blue. One of these teams is going to earn their second match point and move up to that joint first place in the league table. First points on the board for red, 2-0. 3-0. Blues need to get out on that scoreboard. 4-0 now. It's a dangerous lead point already. Blues on the board. Red's maintaining that 4-point lead, 5-point lead now. Really, really dangerous. The moment your opponents get more than 3 points ahead of you, it's a massive uphill struggle to close that gap. 40 seconds played now. Blues start to fight back. Really good work there. Got to keep that momentum going though. Red's opening that gap again, back to that 4-point. 5-point again. Good centre shield work from Reds there. They're also playing the this frontline distraction player tactic. Just a bit of movement on the front player. This stage it doesn't necessarily take much more than that to get out of the way of shots. And you're drawing a lot of fire into yourself by doing so. 5 seconds now. Dominating winning game 1 there for Easy Dub. So Easy Dub take game 1, 19 points to 11. Both Red 2 and Red 3 really racking in the points. They're both very dangerous players from Blue's perspective. Blue player 6 there, needing to step up the game significantly. Only a single point scored and a lot of points conceded to the opposition. So this is, again, it's about movement. We've seen this in the early games. Belfast Saints' key weakness is movement around the pitch area. They've just got to get themselves more mobile, more left, right, up, downs. They've got to move. So moving left and right is okay. It's an effective way. It's a useful way of dodging, but ducking is so much more effective. It moves your target a significantly greater distance. It forces your opponents to split their fire between high and low, meaning that a missed shot on you can't potentially hit a teammate. So it's a very, very effective way of moving around the pitch. You need to shift, and you can't just go low and stay there. Obviously, you've got to shift between the two. So we want to start to see transitions of height. So people go from standing up to kneeling down to ducking around, moving around their shots. It makes you just so much harder to hit. Also, because again that target's moving with your head, and you've got to move out of the way, that a quick head flick to the side will allow you to dodge away from shot. Even without you necessarily having to race. It's not like you've got to sprint around the court, but just a bit of a body shift to the side, twist to the head, can flick your target away from incoming fire. So hopefully we'll start to see some of those tricks starting to come through. They are fairly intuitive ones to realise as we go. Right then, so game 2. Can Belfast Saints pull this back? So all Belfast Saints need to do is move. That we know they've already got all the building blocks for the rest of it. They've just got to make themselves harder to hit. First point's on the board for red. So EasyDub managed to get a real dominating early start, and Belfast Saints never managed to really close that gap on them. They cannot allow EasyDub to do that again. 4-point lead for EasyDub though. Looks like they're going to do it. Belfast Saints have got to stop EasyDub racking those points in. Coming on the halfway point now. 4-point lead to red. Blues with a lot of work to do if they're going to pull this back and take it to a third game. 3-point lead, 30 seconds. 4-point lead, now 5-point lead, 6-point. Belfast Saints are in a lot of trouble here. 20 seconds remaining. 15 seconds, 5-point difference. 10 seconds. 3 points, 5 seconds. It was a great fight back from Belfast Saints. They're really, really well played, but just too little, too late, unfortunately. That gap that from the early stages there, that initial sort of like 5 points there that EasyDub managed to get on the board during the first quarter of the game without reply from Belfast Saints, just opened up too big a gap, and there's no way they could get the momentum rolling to try and fight back against that. But good play all round there. So that takes EasyDub, gives them their second match win. And EasyDub score now 107 points. So EasyDub have taken the lead overall. So EasyDub are now our number 1 team on the pool stage at the end of round 3. So at the end of round 3, our team positions currently are EasyDub in first place, followed by the Bouncers, Wild, Belfast Saints, Northern Ireland Esports, and the Bosses. But all teams have got points. So Wild, Bouncers, and EasyDub have got 2 match wins. Northern Ireland Esports, Belfast Saints, Bosses have all got 1 match win. Every team has 2 matches left to play. So this is still anybody's tournament to win. And points difference from highest to lowest is currently 66 at the lowest point to 107 at the top for most points scored. Ooh. So a definite competitive nature of the team's really starting to gear up now. They're all getting a good idea of what they can and can't get through. Okay, so start of round 4. This is Northern Ireland Esports on the red team versus the Bosses on blue. So, said all teams with 2 matches left to play, and only a single match point separating any of the teams at this stage. But both Northern Ireland Esports and Bosses both have a single point, so one of them is moving up into that two match point category at the end of this game. Great opening salvo there from the Bosses. 2 points to nothing. 10 seconds played. Northern Ireland Esports needing to get themselves on the board here. 4-point lead now for blue team. Reds are on the board. Still a 4-point variance between the teams though. Northern Ireland Esports starting to claw it back. 3-point variation now. Blues open that gap yet again though. 4-point lead. 5-point lead. 40 seconds played. Just past the halfway mark. Blues now with a 7-point lead. Absolutely dominating in this game. (15-6), 11-point difference. That is a massive, massive target for the Reds in these last 15 seconds of the game. 6 points needed. 10 seconds. And that is a commanding win from the Bosses there. 19 points to 13. Absolutely controlling that game from start to finish. Northern Ireland Esports had a great fight back in the centre, started to close that gap on them, but Bosses just not allowing them back in the game at all. All 5 MVP categories there going to the blue team. Shots fired, accuracy, hits and movement. Really, really good play. Again, all players on the blue team performing well. No significant standout player there. Red player 2 got to shift up their movement. Red 2 were sacrificing a lot of points there just through a lack of evasion. But excellent play there from the Bosses in game 1. So, first game for the Bosses. Let's see what they can do with this second one. Can they make this another win and take the match point? So, said really good all the way through. It wasn't that they just got a nice salvo at the start, got a bit lucky. It was just constant flow, really good gameplay, good accurate shots, constantly racking the points up on the board all the way through the match. So very, very good play from the Bosses there. Here we go. So teams just getting themselves prepped and ready for the next round. Good shields there from Northern Ireland Esports, really holding off that opening salvo from the Bosses. The Bosses now racking those points in the moment the shields dropped. Unfortunately, if you're stationary behind the shields, when they drop, those shots come straight into you. You need to try and keep a count on the number of shots hitting your shields, keep a good idea for how long they're going to last. Every time the shields get hit, they become paler, so you can see them weakening. Single point lead now for Northern Ireland Esports. 6 points apiece. Much, much better performance here from the red team. Not allowing Blues to gain that sort of dominating lead that we saw in the first game. 2 point variation now. Reds ahead by 2. Blues starting to claw it back, pull it back to even. 30 seconds remaining and Blues have flipped it. Still single point lead for Blues. 20 seconds remaining. 2 point lead now. Reds really with the work cut out for them here. 10 seconds left. 3 point lead to blue. 5 seconds. 3, 2, 1. It's a great fight back. Bosses managed to take victory in that second game. Much more even play both sides. Red player 2 just not managing to find their mark in that match, though, unfortunately. So that is now a second match point for the bosses, taking them joint lead on the table. It's that 2-point category. But obviously Wild, Easy Dub, and the other teams all still with games to play in these later rounds. So currently that takes the bosses into second place on the table. So they've jumped from last to second with that one match win. It's just giving you an idea of just how close these teams are, how little variation there is between them. We're seeing really good even gameplay all across the board here. So one match win taking the bosses from 6th place to 2nd place on the league table. Next up we have Wild on red versus Easy Dub on blue. These are the 4th matches for both of these teams. So yeah, so games 4 and 5 still to come for these guys. Northern Ireland Esports have only one remaining game. So Northern Ireland Esports only currently have one match win and 107 points. So at this stage, they are really on a playing catch up. Bouncers have 2 more matches to play. Bouncers with 2 match points on the board, so they're in a very strong position. Easy Dub, including the one they're just about to play, have 2 matches on the board. Again, currently with two match points, so also in a very strong position. Belfast Saints have only 1 match left to play. Look at this. So again, a lot of catch up to try to do from there. And the bosses have 2 matches left to play. So Bouncers, Easy Dub and Bosses currently looking like, and Wild, sorry. So all of our 2-point teams all have 2 match win teams all have 2 games left to play. Okay, teams just get themselves prepped and ready to go. So this is Wild on red, Easy Dub on blue. So both of these teams with 2 match wins under the belt. So the winner of this match will shift temporarily to the top of the league table. Coach Shamai just helping the players get final elements of their kit sorted out before we begin. Hello.
Back for another update. Still waiting for another game to go to, like, for another match to go to game 3, but it seems to be 2, but...
It has, but we said both these teams are currently on 2 match wins, so whoever takes this game goes temporarily ahead of the league table. But we're showing just how close the teams are. The bosses were in 6th place, winning that last match jumped immediately to 2nd. That's how closely packed the teams are.
Seems like such a tasty tournament. So, yeah. This is good.
Yep. So here we go. See how they do. Good bit of motion there from Wild. First points on the board though for blue. Wild just on edge ahead with a 2-point lead. Easy Dub immediately answering back, closing that gap. Still 1 point in it though. Nice done from Easy Dub, pulled it back 3 points apiece. Good shield positioning and dodging there from Easy Dub. Easy Dub now starting to edge ahead a bit of lead to hit the halfway mark. 3-point lead to Blue. Can they get that fourth all-important point? Start to really have some breathing space. Yes, they can. 5-point lead now for Blue. 30 seconds played. Well, 30 seconds remaining, sorry. Maintain that 5-point lead now. 6-point lead. 20 seconds remaining. Easy Dub absolutely controlling this game now. Got some real clear breathing space between them and the red team. Absolute mountain for the red team to climb. 5 seconds remaining. 3, 2, 1, and that is a dominating win for Easy Dub in game 1. Players 4 and 5 there, absolutely tearing it up. Player 6 currently in there showing a bit of the weak link on Easy Dub, but fantastic overall result for them. Blue player 4, standout player of the match there, taking the MVP in 4 separate categories. So shots fired, accuracy, KO count, and the individual point score. Again, no obviously clear weak link there on the red team. They were just getting battered across the board there. No one player in need of anything specific. We were starting to see dodging movement coming from them. Just need to see a lot more. So a lot more shift across the pitch, a lot more activity in what they're doing. If they're going to try and pull this back in the second game. So teams just now cycling around, getting themselves ready for the next matchup. Here we go. So Easy Dub take this one. They move head of the league table, at least temporarily. Wild need to win this one to take it to a third game decider. Looks like we've got a technical error on one of the players' headsets. Just doing a quick reset. And a quick reminder, this is all been done for BBC Children in Need. Please make sure that you get involved. Go do something cool for Pudsey. Raise some money. Do something useful. Or just go to the Children in Need website. There's text numbers there, QR codes, a whole range of different ways you can donate to Children in Need so they can help the good causes and push forward all the things that they're doing. Now, all of these tournaments we're currently running and streaming out across YouTube, these are all to take us towards a final national sort of final. And our top out of our 8 regional champions, 2 of them are going to get the chance to move ahead to the finals, which are going to be played on the 10th of November on the main Game to Give show, where they'll be facing against each other and against celebrity teams, which should be very, very cool for an event. So here we go, back into the game. Easy Dub take this, they move head of the leaderboard. Wild have got to take this to get back into this match. First points on the board for Blue. 10 seconds played. Three points to nothing. Red's got to get themselves on that scoreboard. Great shielding work from Blues, really, really limiting the options and choices there for the red team. 6-point lead. Red's getting fixated on shields a little bit now. When you're behind on points, you just have to shoot. Shields do not earn you points. Use movement to stay alive rather than shields and keep firing. It's all about racking those points up. Great fight back here from the red team. Pulled it back to just a 2-point lead. Fantastic work. They've flipped the match entirely. That was a huge comeback. Absolutely amazing. So 20 seconds remaining, 11 points apiece. Reds now with a single point lead, 2-point lead, 3-point lead. from that massive lead that Easy Dubs had, that control of the game. Reds have flipped it entirely. Great work from Wild. 3, 2, 1. Wild take it in game 2. This is going to a third round decider. Good play there from both teams. Said that initial, there's initial points on the board from Easy Dub. Look like we're going to take control of this game all the way through and just keep Wild locked out from start to finish. Really, really good from Wild, holding their nerve, not getting rocked back by that. Managing a great counter-offensive and then flipping the scoreline entirely to take the game. Really, really good play. So again, starting to see these teams starting to mature and get more and more feel for their tactics and ideas as they're moving forwards. So generally in those first games, if someone gets knocked back like that, you tend to just see them start to collapse. Mid-rank, a few games in, like as we are now, they start to get a bit more confidence. They understand how they can fight back, what they can do. So if you do get knocked back, it's not the end of the world. Keep your nerve, keep in the game. You can fight back, and just as we saw there, flip the whole scoreline. So really, really good play there from Wild on Red, holding their nerve to fight this all the way through into the third game decider. But one way or another, we get a winner at the end of this. 80 seconds on the clock. Here we go. Again, early points for Easy Dub. Nicely played there from Wild, not allowing Easy Dub to get that early lead as they got in the first couple of games. Easy Dub slightly edging ahead though, Wild pulling it straight back again though. Great play, 5 points apiece. 30 seconds played. Lovely shield set up there from Easy Dub. Wild work crashing their way through them nice and rapidly though. 2 point lead for Easy Dub now. Wild already closing it back up, single point lead, and they pulled it back to even. 30 seconds remaining. Easy Dub just ahead by a single point. 2 points, 3 points, 20 seconds now. 4 points. Wild have got to close that gap. Point for point, 10 seconds. Still point for point, 5 seconds. Unable to close the gap. And that is 16-12. That is a win for in the game 3 for Easy Dub and match for Easy Dub. That takes Easy Dub currently to the top of the league table with 1 match left to play. Theirs will be the final match of the tournament versus the Bosses. So next up we have on Red Team Northern Ireland Esports for their final game of the tournament versus the Bouncers. So Northern Ireland Esports on Red. This is their final game. Bouncers on Blue will have 1 more match to come after this. So Northern Ireland Esports on Red versus the Bouncers on Blue. So Easy Dub now currently head of the league table there with 3 match wins. And 1 still to play. So it's currently 3 wins and 1 losses, placing them currently in the best overall position. Just getting the points totals added in as well, so we can get a feel for those final teams. So, Northern Ireland Esports Red, Bouncers on Blue. Bouncers currently 2 match wins, Northern Ireland with 1. So Northern Ireland win here, and that brings them back up into the main sort of body of the results table. If Bouncers can win here, that will shift them back up on match points equal to Easy Dub, and depending on the score, will control across the 2 games will control whether they equal or defeat ECW for that top point. So obviously some of our games have gone to 3 matches. When that happens, in terms of your total points scored, what we do is the match that's the odd one out. So obviously, if blue team won 1 match and red team won, blue team won 1 match and red team won 2 matches, the match that blue team won is the odd one out. So it's the one that isn't in line with the overall match result. That match is discounted. So the points earned in that match do not count towards either team's total. It's only the score that they achieved in the two games that are in line with the overall match result that count towards their totals. Here we go. First point is on the board for both teams. 10 seconds played. Score is staying incredibly even here. Blues starting to get a very slight lead. Manage that 4 points now. Got that bit of breathing space between themselves and Reds. Reds starting to fight back. Got to close that lead down though. Blues still manages to maintain it. 30 seconds. Still holding that 3-point lead. Reds need to land 2 or 3 hits in very quick succession here without conceding if they're going to close that. 2 points variation now. 3 points again. 5-point lead. 6-point lead. Coming below the 10-second mark now. It's going to be a win in game 1 for the Bouncers. It's accelerating away at the end there. Absolutely racking in the points. Blue 5 there. 9 KOs scored for only 2 points conceded. Excellent play there. Yep. So Blues there were up, taking the board. All 5 MVP positions. Red player 5 having an absolutely storming game there. Really, really good play. Not the highest accuracy, but shots fired, movement, KOs, and conceded. Basically, they're playing really well, making themselves really, really hard to hit there. Which is what we want to see. Lots of movement, lots of energy around the pitch. These teams are still not moving very much. Okay, even the most mobile player we've had so far in these matches is moving maybe half of what we'd really want to see going forwards. But these are rookie teams. They've not played this sport before. Everything they're doing is new to them as of today. It's just showing just how quite intuitive the sport is to play, in order to pick up, start getting team play, start getting these tactics coming through, this movement, and their learning curve as they go from here is going to be exponential for quite some time. Here we go, game 2. Good work, both teams. Nice couple of point lead there from Reds, just being eaten away out by Blues. Very good work from Northern Ireland Esports here. Managed to get that lead and holding on to it now, keeping that momentum going. It's past the halfway mark now. It's 5-point lead, 6-point lead. Really, really good from them. Got to keep the momentum going. Much, much better movement here. See that shifting across the front line, that front line distraction player, really drawing the fire in. Great shield there, really messing up the centre fire point from Blues. Good shielding there from Blues, but shielding at this stage is not going to help them. They need points. 5 points down, 5 seconds. 2 and 1. That was a great fight back, but really, really good play there from Northern Ireland Esports. 17-14. You can see on the timeline there. Fantastic fight back at the end there. 6 points racking in that last quarter from the Blues. From the Bouncers, just not enough to catch them. Northern Ireland Esports was just far too big an early lead there. Despite that really great work to try and close that gap, just too big a hill for the Bouncers to climb at this stage. So that's going to move us through to a third round decider. So interesting to see the way that flipped. Both teams winning their respect, obviously Bouncers taking game 1, Northern Ireland taking game 2. Both doing it really quite definitively, getting great early momentum going and just keeping the other team constantly on the back foot and unable to catch them. Here we go, game on, third round decider. First points on the board for red. So both teams in the games they won managed to get early momentum going, managed to pull themselves ahead of the other team. We're going to see one start to get some ground, or is this going to be point for point all the way now? Four points apiece, 30 seconds played. It's looking like this is going to go point for point all the way now. Halfway mark, single point advantage to blue. 2, 3. Blue now starting to get a little bit of space for themselves and reds. Red's got to close that gap straight away. 30 seconds remaining. 2 points. 1 point. Back to 2 point variance. One again. Come on, reds. That's it. 9 points apiece. 20 seconds. 10 points apiece. Both teams really with their eyes in here. 2 point lift for blue now. 10 seconds. 3 points for blue. 5 seconds. 4 points. Great double knockout there from blue. That looks like it was enough. And it was. 16-13. Bouncers take it in the deciding match. Really nice gameplay. And that is the final match for Northern Ireland Esports. That is Northern Ireland Esports with all 5 games played. Bouncers still with 1 more game to play. So that is the Bouncers moving up into joint lead position there, 3 points. Same as Easy Dub. And adding 39 points to their total. So Easy Dub, I think, still just in first place. Okay, so that's Bouncers and Easy Dub both in jointly with 3 match points. Wild and Bosses with 2 match points. Belfast Saints and Northern Ireland Esports with 1 match point. Our next game coming up is Wild versus the Bosses. So Wild on red versus the Bosses on blue. So it's going to be interesting to see how this runs. Bosses have got 2 games still to play. So this and 1 more, and they are on 2 match points. So if the Bosses take their next 2, if they can beat Wild and Easy Dub, they could take the whole tournament still at this stage. So again, we're still really close in how these teams are working, their positioning, their point scores. It's really great to see this one. I think it's going all the way down to the wire, and probably down to some difficult mathematics on our behalf. Which we prefer it didn't. It was really nice. It was a clear win. But these teams are really evenly matched, and they're all progressing, learning, and evolving at a pretty similar rate here. So we're seeing a great step up in gameplay across the board from all of them as they're going through these games. So we have 3 matches now remaining to the end of our single pool here, which means that we are 3 matches away from knowing the identity of our first ever Northern Ireland HADO champions. And we'll then be moving on to face off against the bot challenge to see how they rank against the winners from Barnsley, London, and Basingstoke. So Wild versus the Bosses now. Wild on red, Bosses on blue. We then have the Bouncers on red, Belfast Saints on blue, and then a final match of the tournament, Easy Dub on red and Bosses on blue. So 3 matches to take us all the way through to the finale. Teams just getting themselves prepped and ready. Coach might just giving a few pointers before the game begins. Nice early play from both teams there. Bosses with a good lead here. It's slowly being chipped away by Wild. Just the halfway mark. 2-point lead now for the Bosses. Still managed to get the momentum going. Wild fighting hard to close that gap though and bring it back to even. 30 seconds remaining. 10 points apiece now. 11 points apiece. Wild caught them and they've flipped it. Can the Bosses get themselves back into that lead position? 20 seconds remaining now. 3-point lead now. 2-point lead again. Bosses fighting back well, but Wild now they've got a bit of space, seeming to really start to put that pressure on. 10 seconds. 1 point in it. 5 seconds. Can the Bosses do it? Wild land 1 extra point, securing that 17-15, taking game 1 against the Bosses. But that was close. That easily could have gone either way. Generally, we've seen the Bosses get in the games they win, get a sort of a real clear control of the game off the get-go, while not allowing them to do that in this stage, keeping them within catching point all the time until they manage to flip that scoreline. Really good play from Wild there, but we are not out. We're not through it all yet. Plenty of banter going on in the background from the audience. So, teams now getting themselves ready for game 2 here. So this is our second game of the sequence. This is the final game of the tournament for Wild. So Wild currently sat with 2 match points. So the best they can achieve here is 3. Our 2 tournament leaders, Bouncers and Easy Dub, both still with a match in hand though. All right, let's take ourselves back to courtside. First points on the board for Wild. Bosses really need to get into this game. They don't have any points on the board yet. So Bosses definitely perform better when they get that ease, that early momentum going. Not so great when they put on the back foot in the early stages of the match. Three-point lead for Red. Bosses really got to close that gap down. Coming up towards the halfway mark now. Still holding that 3-point lead. Great play from Wild here. Really got the momentum going early, holding off the Bosses. Bosses putting up a great fight to try and close that gap back up. Wild just not letting them get back in the game. Beautiful single point takedown there on the near side. If you hit the dead centre of your opponent's shield, you wipe the whole thing with a single shot. Otherwise, you just take out the sections that you hit. That's why you get some of those really, really nice, clean centre target hits. 3, 2, 1, and Wild take it. That is 2 games to nothing. Wild take the match. And that is Wild's final game of the tournament there. So that'll be Wild finishing on 2 match points. Boss is still on two match points as well, but still with a game in hand. So we have our last 2 matches now coming up. Bouncers on red versus Belfast Saints on blue next, followed by Easy Dub on red and the Bosses on blue. Bouncers and Easy Dub currently both with 3 match points, both with a match in hand. Belfast Saints against Bouncers. Belfast Saints have not necessarily been the strongest team so far. They really, really need to move. If Belfast Saints have got great accuracy, but a lack of movement around the pitch has cost them in their earlier games. If they can start to account for that, they can start to move a little more. They could make things very difficult for the Bouncers here. Easy Dub versus the Bosses is our closing game. Easy Dub have played really strong all the way through. Bosses, we've seen a little bit of fluctuation. It's generally down to whether they can get some early momentum going. So absolutely possible for them to defeat Easy Dub in that final game, but only really if they get that early momentum in play. So here we go then. So Bouncers are prepping up on red, and Belfast Saints on blue. So statistically, in what we've seen so far in this tournament, this looks like it's more likely to go to the Bouncers than Belfast Saints. But as I said, Belfast Saints, they've got accuracy, they've got shields, they just need to move. And if this is the match where that clicks for them and they start to move, they could very definitely flip the script on the Bouncers in this one, and take that point away from them. If either Belfast Saints or the Bosses manage to sort of just break the momentum of their opponents in these matches, that could very well be the deciding factor for the whole tournament. Both teams with some serious capacity to disrupt the whole flow of things. This could be some quite very, very interesting games, interesting results in how they flow. As you said, that Bouncers have been playing well all the way through. They've got a really nice sort of tactic with the front player, running distraction, lots of movement and mobility there. That's worked really well for them, taking the pressure off their rear players, land to snipe and fire as they're going. And their opponents, the Belfast Saints here, accuracy, shielding has been pretty good actually all the way through. They just need to move, and if this is a match where they start to move, we start to see that manoeuvrability, that shift around the play area, then they're absolutely capable of flipping the script here on the Bouncers and taking the match from them, but only if they start moving. If we get that sedentary play again, then this is most likely going to be a Bouncers win. Right, looks like our teams are pretty much prepped and ready to go. Let's get the game on. Nice openers from both sides. Good work, 2 points apiece, 10 seconds. We are actually starting to see a little bit of movement from Belfast Saints. But not enough at this stage. Bouncers absolutely racking those points in there. Belfast Saints with a huge job here to close that gap. 5-point lead now for Bouncers. 6 point. Coming on the halfway mark. Bouncers absolutely control of the game at this stage. 9-point lead here. They're definitely seeing a real marked improvement in the movement from Belfast Saints, but accuracy and team play from Bouncers just not letting them get back into this game at all. Really nice cycling of shields there. Shielding players shifting up and from the Bouncers to hold that centre ground. Great play there, 9-point lead. Dominating game from the Bouncers. Red 3 there, 10 points scored for 4 points conceded. Stand-up play there, blue player 6, really clearly being the primary target there for the Bouncers. For whatever reason they'd identified them as the key player to go for, try and keep locked out of play and target for points there. Okay, so moving into the second game here. Let's see if Bouncers can close this one down and take the win. Team's just getting prepped. Here we go. Game on. First points on the board for Saints. Again, another increase in movement for Saints. They're really noticeable. Really nice play from them. Still holding on to their lead. Got to get rid of those centre shields. Good. Saints still holding their lead. Keep that momentum going. Bouncers working really hard to try and close that gap down. Saints just not letting them back in the game at this stage. 2-point lead now. Bouncers starting to close it down. 1-point lead. Pulled it back to square. Saints need to get those points on the board. Can't let Bouncers flip this match. 30 seconds remaining. Great play from Saints here. Really, really big noticeable increase in their dodging and manoeuvrability around the pitch. Fantastic timing on that shield there from Saints. 2-point lead still to Saints. Going to the last few seconds now. Bouncers have pulled it back level. 10 seconds. 1 point in it for Saints. 2, 3, great hits they're going in from Saints. 3 seconds now. And Saints take game 2. We're going to a third match decider. Really, really good play from the Saints there. Very, very, very big increase in their movement, their evasion, the dodging, shifting around the pitch area. That was a massive, massive improvement there from the Saints. By far and away the best game we've seen play so far this tournament. Blue player 5, absolute standout player there. 10 points scored again and only 5 conceded. 50 shots fired, 43% accuracy. Absolutely on fire in that game. Now, can they do it again? So, 1 game apiece. Obviously that second game was fairly close. The first game was very, very much dominated by the Bouncers. Could be anyone's at this stage. Are Belfast Saints about to cause the upset and basically deny Bouncers the chance at overall victory? Because that's pretty much what this comes down to. Right, teams just now getting themselves prepped and all ready. Here we go, game 3. Points, 1 point apiece. Both teams keeping each other good and level at this stage. 20 seconds played, 3 points each. Bouncers starting to get a little bit of momentum going now. 3-point lead. Can Saints pull this back? Good hits going in from both sides there, but Bouncers starting to really get some airspace between themselves and the Saints. Halfway mark, 6-point lead to the Bouncers. Again, points getting from both sides, but that 6-point lead still there. 5-point lead now. Saints have got to hugely step up their firepower here. Get the shields, focus on movement and firepower. It's all about the firepower at this point. You need the points. 20 seconds. Still a 6-point lead. Saints just unable to close that lead. Both teams still racking the points in, but that point difference just not varying. 3, 2, 1. Bouncers take game 2. 18 points to 12. So that currently places Bouncers at the top of the table with 4 match wins. So we have our final match of the tournament now. Easy Dub versus the Bosses. So Easy Dub on red versus the Bosses on blue for the final match of the tournament. And this is the deciding match as well. If Easy Dub win this and win this by enough points, they'll take the tournament. So Bouncers are currently our number 1 position team. If the Bosses defeat Easy Dub, then it's a Bouncers win. And if Easy Dub win but without scoring enough point on the Bouncers, on the Bosses, it's an Easy Dub win. It's a win for the Bouncers. So Bouncers currently definitely the strongest team here, but Easy Dub with the position to catch them, but only if they win and win by enough. So teams on the court now just getting themselves kitted up. So our point scores now been all updated. So Bouncers currently 175 points scored, 4 match wins. Easy Dub, to catch them, or to win, must win this match, and in the process must score at least 41 points. So to win the title at this point, Easy Dub need to win the match and score over 41 points in the process in order to take the overall title here at Belfast Met. Otherwise, this is a win for the Bouncers. So it's not going to be easy. The Bosses have played some really, really strong games. It's going to be a very, very difficult challenge for Easy Dub to take the win away from the Bouncers, but it is still possible. So they've got to win the match. They've got to score more than 41 or more points in order to do it. If they score 40 points, it becomes really awkward because then we've got to do a whole load of the maths on points conceded and stuff. So don't score 40 points. 39, 41, all good, but just not 40. Right, so teams just getting their gear prepped and ready. Yep, really good play all round. Teams look like they're ready. Let's get ourselves back to courtside. So, final match. Best of 3. Here we go. Can Bosses get a good upset in here? Early point lead now from Reds. Bosses chasing well. Three-point lead for Reds still. Coming up on the halfway mark. Three-point lead being maintained by Reds. 30 seconds. Good movement on the front line there. Really strong play from Reds. Bosses with a huge amount of work to do here. 10 seconds. 10-point lead for Reds. Remember, Reds need to win both these games and win with a total minimum of 41 points. 20 points scored for Red there. So, here we go then. To win the tournament, EasyDub need to win this next game and win by 20 and score 21 or more points doing so. Any other result is an overall win for the Bouncers. Okay, so all to play for now in this what's potentially final game, assuming that this is a win for EasyDub. EasyDub need to score 21 or more points in order to take the title of Belfast Met Champions. Anything less than a win by 21 or more and scoring 21 more points in the process is an overall win for the Bouncers. So, see if they can do it. Good early shielding, firepower both sides. First points on the board from both teams. 10 seconds played. Remember, EasyDub need to win this game and score at least 21 points in the process in order to take the title of Belfast Met Champions. 30 seconds played. Coming up on the halfway mark now. Just 3-point difference between the teams. Nice shielding work both sides. 30 seconds. This is looking like it's going to be a win for EasyDub, but not by enough points to take the championship. They still need 9 more points. 8 points. 7 points in 12 seconds. 5 points in 10 seconds. 4 points. 2 points. 19 points scored. EasyDub take the match but lose the championship. We have our first ever Belfast Met champions. Bouncers. Bouncers are the Belfast Met champions. Really, really great play from the teams there. EasyDub there were 2 points away from taking the title from the Bouncers, but Bouncers held out there and take the win here at Belfast Met as our first ever Northern Ireland, and obviously also first ever Belfast Met champions. Great play to them. Right, we're going to cycle the teams around relatively quickly because they've had a little bit of a breather, and we're going to get them up and on to play their bot challenge. Just as we've done at other locations, they're going to start off facing against the level 3 AIs, and then we'll move them up from there. They'll get a single game against each level of AI. They win, they move on. They lose, their run is over, and whatever they've achieved at that point will set their national ranking position. So, yep, that was incredibly close at the end there. So, going through the match results, that is Bouncers on 4 match wins with 175 points. EasyDub on 4 match wins with 174 points. So, Bouncers take the win overall. In third place with 3 match points is Wild. Then in fourth place with 2 match points is the Bosses. In 5th place, Belfast Saints with 1 match win and 145 points. And in 6th place, Northern Ireland Esports with 1 match win and 138 points. Back in one sec.
We're going through to a butt challenge. We're by 1 point. It's the bouncers.
Yep. So to give you the overall results, guys, Bouncers 4 match wins, 175 points scored. Easy Dub 4 match wins, 174 points scored. If you need, Easy Dubs needed to score 2 more points across their 2 final games in order to have taken the overall win. In 3rd place with 3 match points is Wild. In 4th place with 2 match wins is the Bosses. In 5th place with 1 match win and 145 points is Belfast Saints. And in 6th place with 1 match win and 138 points is Northern Ireland Esports. So the Bouncers are the first ever Northern Ireland champions. Congratulations. You'll now be facing off against the AIs. We're going to start you against the level 3 AI, which is sort of basic competent player. Work you up from there. You will play 1 game against each level. If you win, you move to the next level. You lose, that's where your run stops. However high you get will confirm your overall national ranking. And it's only the 2 top national ranked teams that go through to the BBC show. Okay, so Barnsley currently got to rank 6 to the level 6 AI, scored 10 points against it. The College of Esports, London, they got to level 5 AI, scoring 13 points. And Queen Mary's College Basingstoke, they got to level 5, scoring 10 points. Yeah, so to have a chance to get into the BBC, you've got to either beat the level 5s or lose to them, but score more than 13 points in the process. Okay, so our Belfast Met champions, the Bouncers, just get themselves kitted up and ready on pitch. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fare against the AIs. So as with all the other teams, they'll face off initially against the level 3, which with the matches they've played so far shouldn't be a particularly difficult challenge for them. But it should mean that it gives them just that chance to see what playing against the AIs is like. It is a little bit different to playing against humans. More about the visuals that you see necessarily than the gameplay. So the AIs appear as sort of green figures with a sort of round spherical head and a conical body. But the key thing is they've got the same stats, same abilities as you have as a human player, and what they've got is that same target marker. Now that target marker, because it moves with your orientation, it shows exactly where they're looking. So you can tell from the orientation of the marker exactly where any shots from them are going to go, because the shots always appear from the centre of the target marker. So therefore, that marker in its orientation, whether it's high, low, left, right, you can see where the bot is looking, basically. You don't have to have a face there to be able to tell that. And obviously you see the shots from the shields, everything else. And the bot's movement patterns, their play styles are based upon human players. So the algorithms that create them have been taken from mapping the play style of human players at those sort of approximate ability and skill levels and seeing how they play on the pitch, how they move. So level 3, relatively predictable in how they move. The firepower's okay, but it's not massive. Shield positioning can be a little bit random. Their tactics aren't necessarily great. Their accuracy is not amazing because they're still fairly sort of, they're competent but inexperienced players. And as it moves up from there, we see a step at each level. So every time we shift up the AI levels, assuming they beat level 3, we move to level 4 and then to 5 and so on, depending wherever these guys manage to get. That each time they step up a level, you'll see the bots get faster, they'll get more accurate, they'll get more aggressive, they'll get tactically better. And at level 6, we see a massive shift in the bots because for the first time they start to duck. Right. Let's see how they do. Here we go. Level 3. So for those from the other colleges watching, especially from College of Esports and Barnsley, this is the game particularly that matters to you guys. So points on board both sides, 10 seconds played. 20 seconds. Reds with 2 point, holding 2 point lead here. Still holding a 2 point lead. So it doesn't matter how much you win by, you just have to win. The only scoreline that matters is the bots you lose against. Anything up to that, it's just a case of win the match. And fundamentally against the lower levels, you don't want to push yourself too far, there's no benefit in it. Just win the match and reserve your energy for the higher level bots, which will get tougher and faster. It's 20 seconds to play. Obviously, in each case, our winning teams have already played tournaments, and the bots never get tired. So conserve your energy in the early levels. As long as it's a win, that's all that matters. It's great work from our Belfast Met champions, beating the level 3 bots. We're going to give them a few seconds to get the breath back, and then we'll move on to level 4. So, nice play there. A little bit, took them a little bit to get into the initial stages there, which is not unusual. So the bots do move slightly differently. It is different playing against them than it is against the human players. So it's that first experience of doing that. But now they should have their eye in on it, and we'll start to move on to slightly more difficult opponents. So level 4s are a little bit of a step up, tactically a bit better. They get a bit faster, they're a bit more accurate, they move more. Level 5s is another quite a reasonable step up, and they become a lot more aggressive in their play style. And then level 6, if they get to there, that's where we start seeing the bots ducking, shifting under shots, effectively doing the equivalent of slides and knee drops and things that human players would do. So they start to become much, much harder to hit them because you actually get a shift in vertical height of their targets. Right, so Coach Shamai just giving them some pointers there. They're getting prepped up to going against the level 4s. Let's see how they do. First points on the board for both sides. Good work from Reds. Starting to get that bit of momentum and an early lead. Just need to hold on to that lead. Cannot let the bots catch you. Great work here. Still on that nice lead just come through the halfway mark. Good control of the pitch area. "20 seconds remaining. Nice lead here over the level 4s. 10 seconds. I'm going to be sailing through without any real difficulties through to face the level 5s. So level five is where all our previous teams have managed to achieve. So QMC and College of Esports were both defeated by the level 5s, and Barnsley managed to move on to the level 6s. So take the level 5s, move on to level 6, and you're immediately into the running for a place on the Game to Give show with the BBC on November the 10th. Obviously, still 4 more locations to challenge for those spots, but if you want to be seriously in with the running, you're going to have to beat the level 5s and get into that level 6 category, which is currently held only by the team from Barnsley. Okay, teams prepping up, getting ready for the level 5s. Here we go. So as said, to realistically win the chance to be on the final show, they need to win this match. First points on the board for the box. Bouncers now with their first points on. Good play. Pulled it back to even. 20 seconds played. Bots still managed to maintain momentum. Need to get that momentum off them. Single point in it. Nice centre shield. Buying a little bit of breathing space for the bouncers. They pull it back to a single point. 2 point again for the bots now. Bouncers got to rack those points in quickly. 9 points on the board. 4 points difference now. They've got the work really cut out from 6 points. Got to get some more points on the board here. With only 9 points on the board, they're currently in 4th position. That. And as defeat to the level 5s, putting 11 points on the board. Means they haven't managed to reach the College of Esports score of 11, but I believe that does place them ahead of Queen Mary's College Basingstoke. So great play from our team here at Belfast Met. So really good good tournament all round. Great play from our teams. Really nice to see the level that they're playing at. Fantastic evolution all the way through. Teams staying really even on each other.
Cheers, buddy.
Thank you very much. Great play. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. So, congratulations to our first ever Northern Ireland champions and Belfast Met champions bouncers. And we'll be moving on from here. For Monday, we'll be at Bangor University in North Wales. If you are in that area, want to be involved in any way, drop us a message on any of our socials. We'll tell you how to come and be part of that event. Until then, go watch more HADO. And remember to click subscribe. If you've been watching this far, click subscribe. All right? Okay, and we will see you at the next tournament. Thanks very much.